So there's certain rules here. 3 rules, what you're allowed to do to a single matrix. 3 rules. First rule, you can interchange rows if you want. Okay, so if you want to flip-flop row 1 and row 2, you can. 3 and 2, you can. Second rule, you can multiply any row by whatever number you want as long as it's not 0. Okay, you can multiply any row by you want. And this is the tougher one, the third rule you're allowed to do. You can multiply any row by you want and add it to another one. All right? Because what's going to happen here sooner or later, guys, like take this first matrix, I need that 3 turned into a 0. And you're going to have to figure out a way to do it for me. And you can't just multiply row 3 by 0 and that's it. It's not allowed. All right, so we'll get to that towards the end of class. So let's go through some different operations we're allowed to do. Part A, what do you think R1 means? Row 1. What do you want me? What do I want you to do with it? Multiply it by 1/2. So now the question automatically is going to come up. Well, what about row 2 and 3? My answer? Nothing. Nothing. You don't touch row 2 and 3. You just literally rewrite it as we write this new matrix. So what's this new matrix going to look like now? Row 1. I multiply everything in row 1 by 1/2. So I'm going to look at 1. Keep rolling here with me. -3. 2. My bar, which I know is my equal sign on the outside there. And 5. Rows 2 and 3. Not touching them. Because the rule just said take row 1 and multiply it by 1/2. It's not that bad. All right, because I don't have to do multiple things on multiple rows, just one row at a time. And I'm good. So just multiply row 1 by 1/2. Let's keep going. What do you think B is asking me to do? Switch row 1 with row 2. What about row 3? Nothing. Good, good, nothing. So just switch row 1 and row 2. So far you've seen 2 things I can do to a matrix. Number 3 is coming up next. All right, just based on what I wrote, what do you think I want you to do here? Take row 1 and multiply it by -3, then take that number and add it to row 2. Here's the question though. Where's it go? Once I find all these numbers, where's it go, right? Do I create a 4th row? The answer is no. Here's your answer. You replace the row you're adding. So we are going to replace row 2. So you always replace the row being added. Nope, we're not doing that. Nope. If we're going to do that, we'll add a negative number onto it. All right, so replace the row being added. So in this case, where's my new row going to be? Row 2. What about rows 1 and 3? Exactly the same. All right, so why don't we do that first? Go ahead and copy row 1 and row 3, and then we'll work slowly with row 2. So whatever one's being added on, that's the row I'm going to replace. Ready to fill it in here with me? All right. -3 times row 1. So -3 times 1. I know this is very elementary schools, but do it here with me. -3 times 1. -3 plus what's in row 2? 3. So -3 plus 3?
0.
I'm putting a 0 there now. Okay? Only row 2 is getting replaced. And this is how it's getting replaced. Next up, -3 times -3. 9 plus 1. I'm going to put 10 spot here. -3 times -1. I'm sorry. -3 times 2. -6 plus -1. -7. And I'm also doing it on the other side. Oh boy, I always get nervous here. -3 times 0. 0 plus 7.
7.
There's your new row 2. We will only do these one row at a time. Okay, we're only going to do these one row at a time and replace. Questions here? Going. All right, a couple more and I'll let you go on your own here. Now look, this looks like a huge matrix, and it is, but we're only replacing what row? Row 3. That's it. We're only going to replace row 3 here. So if you want, just write down rows 1, 2, and 4. That's my go-to. We'll replace row 3 here together. All right, ready for row 3. My new number's in row 3. I take anything in row 2, row 1, multiply it by -2, and add it to row 3. So -2 times 1. -2 plus 2. I got a 0 there now. Talk to me if you're not sure where the numbers are coming from here. -2 times -1 plus 0. 2. Everyone, 2. -2 times 1 plus 3. What do I have here? I should have -2 times 1 is -2 plus a 3, +1. And then keep going. -2 times 1 again. -2 plus 4. I get a 2 spot there. One more. -2 times 3. -6 plus 11. Questions? One more together. Let's go. Then you're going on your own. Go back to the original. Okay, that may have been a question. Go back to the original. Go ahead, Maddie.
So for this last problem, were we getting the numbers that we were
No. Go back to the original matrix and use the original matrix to do this.
Well, yeah. So when it says plus R3, we're adding the numbers from
R3 and replacing row 3.
Replacing
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so what are we doing here for part B?
Adding the ones from
Row 4, and what row are we going to replace?
row 4.
Also row 4, correct. So rows 1, 2, and 3 will remain the same.
Yes.
Sure? We're good?
Yes.
Okay. And I get, everyone can just multiply a row by a number. Everyone can flip-flop rows, but this is the toughest one here. Multiplying and adding a row. Sarah?
Would there ever be a case where you multiply and add the same row?
No. If I want to do that, I'm just going to multiply by the row by whatever I need. Okay. There may be a time where you just add 2 rows together. So you really multiply one row by 1 and then add it to another. That's a definite possibility. Catching up here. 2, 0, 3, 4, 11. All right, what are we looking here for? -5 plus 5. 0.
Where's the,
-5
Oh, I see.
times 1,
Yeah.
and then I add the 5 in row 4 to it. -5 times -1, 5.
5.
Plus 1, 6. -5 times 1 again, -5 plus 2. -3 down here.
Wait,
-5 times this 1 gives you -5 plus 2. -5 plus 2 gives you -3. And then again, -5 times 1, -5 plus 4, negative 1. And then finish it off. My last number there, negative 15 plus 6, negative 9. Anything you want to ask before I walk around and you guys get going on the rest of that page there on the next page? Okay, go ahead. I'll walk around. I'll eventually put the answers up here. See what you can do on your own. Only replace one row. That's it. I'm only replacing one row of problem.
How do we get negative 9s for that?
Negative 15 plus 6.
Multiplying by 6.
Negative 5 times 3, which is negative 15, right?
Oh.
Plus 6.
Never mind. Okay.
All right. We're good. All right, let's go. Because once the majority of the people are done, I'm moving on. Whether you're finished or not. So I'm going to give you plenty of time. I'm just saying. We want to talk in between, fine, but I'm not waiting for you.
What's negative? What's negative? Negative 4. I'm doing mental math right now. 2. 3. Yeah. Oh my god, I'm so good at the mental math. Wait, 0, 6, negative 3. All the fractions. Negative 4. Let me check the first I'm so dumb.
Like on a test, do you want us to like write out what we're multiplying?
Oh.
So okay, so we can just replace it.
Guys, I get to pick up my pottery from the pottery place today. Congratulations. I'll send you a Snapchat, Izzy. Oh, wow. Of my pottery. I made a mug. What did make a mug? I painted the mug. What is that one today? No, it's the strawberry sauce. Unless it doesn't look good, but I'm not.
Oh my god.
So should I expect to get my sisters made bunnies? That's cute, you did like a little fan thing. I've not been to Pottery. Not Pottery Barn, same thing. Pottery Place. Pottery Barn closed. Pottery Barn is in Stuyvesant Plaza. It closed. It's in Stuyvesant Plaza. That's for Southern accent.
Like you pliers.
Okay, guys, let's just do math, okay? You want to do math?
Math.
Row 1.
Stop
My row 1 by a third
Negative
replaces
3
the
times
fractions.
1 is negative.
Yeah.
Is it always gonna be row 1?
Shoot!
Or just like 2? Like is it always gonna be start with row 1? Like results by row 1?
When we get going on what we actually need this for, yes.
Okay.
But you're gonna have to find that something out. That's what we're going to.
Okay. Yeah.
I need something in that top left-hand corner every time, and you gotta figure out how to get it.
Oh my god! I don't know what is wrong with me.
Like what's this like used for in like real life?
We're gonna be solving these using matrices, and you can't do them unless you know how you are proficient in doing that. Or we could go to the quiz question yesterday and who won the track and field competition.
I'm so mad. I forgot to put a negative 15. I'm very upset.
I checked it. I sure you were right. You were so sure. Lizzie was so sure she was right. Yeah. Wait, so what'd you get?
A 96.
Why are you like? You literally made me think you like failed.
That is. I did not say anything.
I was like, what'd you get
for a negative? Did you fist bump?
When you do the first ones, it's like it's by the number of this, right? It's not by this.
You always go by the original.
Oh yeah, Molly, you missed her. I can't focus. I have to get a shot after. I think for A2B.
It's exactly like this one.
No, you like to start at 11, but I think you get it like every year.
I got all of mine.
They told my doctor's office closes like
Here's the three. I'm moving on here. Here's the three, first three anyway, before I write the answers up to the next one. Next two. There's the first three. Anything before I go to the next one here, so I can write down the answers. Anything, any numbers don't match? You want to see where I got the numbers from? The colored numbers are the ones you should be replacing. That's all I look at is the one I needed to replace. Okay, go on to the answers for these.
I hate a big matrix.
But it doesn't matter now because you're only going to do one row.
It's just too many numbers. I'm not good with numbers. Wait, what's the plural for matrix?
Matrices.
This was more than 28, or that's
Your decision.
That's not even. I'm not even on the right one.
What did you say?
Yeah, you got that.
You're supposed to be Molly's like yelling at me because she's whispering and I can't hear what she says.
It should be really a mouse. Whispers and I finished my
Here's this one. Here we go. Here's this one.
No, he does though.
Today.
I don't care what you do.
I'm not going back. I'm not going back to 10th grade.
Oh, you're distracting me because you're the one talking.
Guys.
Why do you get off your phone or
Molly's on her phone.
Okay, when you're ready. No, I know. No. We're not. We're going to do that as a group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're not done yet. This is just getting a little taste of this. That's the real deal coming up.
Oh, okay.
What is that?
What do you mean?
That's the real deal coming up.
Oh, I didn't do that yet. Why are you so speedy with it?
If you just do 4 times the first row and then just look at the bottom row and just add it.
It takes me a minute to wrap my head around it. Like, I understand it completely.
Any numbers don't match up.
Maybe he's tricking us. I don't think he's tricking us. This feels like a Friday before break. I'm like having a
Guys, they're fools. We're never learning this again.
All good? I'm moving on. We all set? Any questions? All right, here's the real deal where I need you to go. You guys now, I'm going to ask for a certain number in a certain spot, and you guys have to figure out what do I need to do. So you're going to come up with this now. All right? So here we go. I got these 3 equations with x, y, and z. You remember at the beginning of the unit, I used to have you guys take those and put them into a matrix? I need you to do that again now. All right, so we need to take this equation, put it into a matrix for me. Step 1, put it into a matrix.
I can do that.
All right, here we go. What's row 1 going to look like?
0, negative 2, or 1.
1,
Negative
2,
2.
negative 1.
Negative
Stop it.
Line
Vertical bar because I have my equal sign.
2.
2. So go ahead and finish the rest of that matrix. 1, 4. Okay, next up. And I'm just going to very slowly start this process, and we'll get into the whole thing next week. Everyone see what I'm asking for. In column 1, I need a 1, 0, 0. And remember, you're only allowed to do 3 things. Multiply a row by a number that's not 0, flip-flop rows, multiply a row by a number and add it to another one. Well, you're welcome, because what do you already have in the top? A 1, so that's done. You don't need to do anything. There's already a 1 there. Everyone see what my goal is at the end. I need a matrix that says 1, 0, 0. That's my goal at the end. Well, you already got the 1 there, so you don't have to worry about that. Our next job. How in the world am I going to change that 2 into a 0 without multiplying row 2 by 0? You're not allowed to do that.
Multiply.
Okay, so whoa.
Oh, multiply.
Because I know there's probably thousands of ideas here. Let me help you out. There's a reason why I want a 1 here. So you can use it. Take a look. What are you going to have to add to get a 0? Negative 2. Everyone agrees?
Yes.
So what are you going to multiply row 1 by to produce a negative 2? So here's what you're telling me. You're going to take row 1, multiply it by negative 2, and then add that to which row? Will that produce a 0? Yes. All right. Yes, it will. Now look, that's one way. I don't know if anybody's going through their mind right now. Well, couldn't I also just multiply row 3 by 2 and add it to row 2? Yeah, you could. That's fine. But this is why I like starting always with a 1 here, because you can multiply this sucker by anything you want and add it to whatever row you want. All right, go ahead. What's my new matrix look like? 1, negative 2, negative 1, 2. Third row is not changing. But I do have to replace it with my new row 2. That's it. Just row 2 is getting replaced. So I'm multiplying everything in row 1 by negative 2 and adding it to whatever's in row 2. So here's your 0. Perfect. Let's see, what else do I get in row 2? 4, negative 3. It is positive. Yes, thank you.
No, wait, I thought the next one was. Yeah, the next one.
One job.
Wait, one. Wait.
Yep. 3 here again. Should just be looking at my own answer. And then what do I number here? 0. Any issues here?
How is 2 0?
Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4, plus the 4 that's in row 2 gives me a 0 there. Okay. Okay. Anybody? Because we still got one more job, and that's to make that negative 1 right here a 0. Right. That's what I asked. I got to have 1, 0, 0. I'm almost there. I got one more move left. One more move. So take a look. I got a negative 1 there. What do you got to add to it to make it into a 0? A 1. So go back to row 1 now. Oh, it's already there. So what am I going to do? I want to replace row 3, definitely. What do I need to add to row 3? To get a 0 here, what do I need to add to row 1? Yeah. And look, I know maybe some of you are like, well, that wasn't part of your rules. Well, yeah, it is, because really, technically, I'm multiplying row 1 by 1. And then adding it to row 3. Row 2 staying the same as my previous one. Now we're using the previous matrix every time, because if I went back to the original, I wouldn't have a 0 there. Okay. Ask any questions you have. What's that number there? -2. Okay, all good here? Before we try one more. This is just a taste, because Tuesday, our last lesson of the unit, I'm going to ask for more 1s and 0s over here now. I just want you to get it in the first column first. That's all I want you to practice. Because if you can do that, the rest should be no problem. Any issues before we do one more? Okay, last one. Same thing. I still want 1, 0, 0 in the first column from it. And I regret putting it this way, but it is what it is. So go ahead, build your matrix. Okay, I just want to throw you a scenario right now. And again, this is my fault. I gave you a 1 there already. That's not going to be the case every time. Let's say I just rewrote it with this one on top instead. Okay, so instead you had a 2 here instead. What could I do to make that into a 1? Oh, you're thinking too far. You guys are thinking too complex. Here's what I'm saying. Hey, and I'll erase this in a second. What if it was like, what if I started the problem like this instead?
Just replace 2 and 1.
Don't get overcomplicated. All I would have to do is what to row 2 and 1?
Switch it.
Flip it, and you can do that. Okay, so just a heads up there, because you're not just going to get a 1 every time like this one. I always want 1 in the top corner. All right, always want a 1 there. All right, let's go. Help me build zeros now. This 2 needs to become a 0. Think about what do we need to add to it.
-2.
And where do you get the -2? From row 1. By multiplying row 1 by -2 and adding it to row 2. You can always get whatever you need from row 1 as long as there's a 1 there.
Is it always? Are you always gonna ask for 1, 0, 0?
In that column, yes. Second column, no. I'm going to ask for something else. Okay? But first column, yes. 1, 0, 0 all the way. Hopefully just check our numbers match. If you want to know where I got those, let me know. Any issues with our row 2? Now, how do I get that -1 in row 3 to become a 0? Add row 1 to it. I don't need to multiply by anything. Just add row 1 to row 3. 0, 3, 1, negative 1, look around. For row 3. Last thing, here's where we're going with this. All right, so you can see what the final outcome is going to be. We know how to do that now. 1, 0, 0. We get good at this on Monday. Tuesday, now I'm going to ask for 0, 1, 0. Third column, I'm going to ask for
0, 0, 1.
0, 0, 1. Stay with me. And then there's just going to be a number over here, whatever it happens to be. When you guys rewrote this matrix for me, what's this variable right here? They're all what? X's. So take a look at what you just wrote here. X equals 2. What's the second column? All your Y's. So Y would equal 5. And then finally Z equals -3. That's how we're going to solve these using the matrices. All right? Good job today. Practice on Friday. On Monday, excuse me. Practice on Monday. Have a good weekend.
No, you can't go in here.